We got it.
You found it?
We got it. All right, with that, I would like to call this meeting to order, this meeting of the town board of the town of Northeast. Today is June 12th, 2025. It is 7 o'clock or slightly thereafter. And I'd like to ask you to join me in a pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could you please conduct a roll call?
Yes, Supervisor Kennan,
Here.
Councilman Morrison,
Here.
Councilman Padella,
Here.
Councilwoman Winkler,
Here.
Councilman Mayville.
Here.
I have distributed a copy of the agenda, which was posted. I have several things to add to the agenda. First of all, I would like to ask for an executive session at the end of our meeting for the purpose of discussing the employment history of a particular person or persons. We have a request from a film company to do filming, which I will talk about. We have a application for a permit for a trailer park, which I would like to add that to the agenda. And I think that is it. We're also going to have a portion of the agenda at the end for town board members who have any questions or comments that they would like to make. We'll do that at the end. But with those amendments, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. With that, I would like to ask if there's any public comment on agenda items only. Hearing none. I'm going to move into my comments. First of all, welcome everybody, and I'd like to welcome Councilwoman Lana Morrison back in person. It's great to have you here and not on the screen.
Thank you. Good to be here.
And we're very happy that you're more mobile and recovering well. We had a good Memorial Day event. A number of members of the board were there and walking or marching in the parade and the ceremony in front of the Memorial Park in the village and the cemetery. It was a very memorable and meaningful day. Something that I've been up to, I think I mentioned before that I'm the treasurer of the Dutchess County Supervisors and Mayors Association. We meet once a month to talk about issues that all of us towns and villages have that are in common. Because this is all the towns and villages in the county. Some are run by Democrats, some are run by Republicans, so it tends to be, we only talk about things we actually can discuss, which are nonpartisan and, therefore relatively non-political, like how to plow roads or things like that. But it's an interesting venue. The last meeting that we had, we actually opened it up to planning board chairs, ZBA chairs, and chiefs of fire departments, because we discussed something that is some people have heard about, these very large scale battery systems. It's known as BESS, battery energy storage systems. Anyway, we had 50 or 60 people who came out over at BOCES and had presentations about these systems. Some people have heard about them. They're these really very, very large batteries. And the benefit of them is that they can, when electric rates are very low during the night, they can be filled essentially with power, with electricity. And then when demand is high on a hot day or during the day or in the evening, they can use those batteries to bring down, to increase the amount of power that is available and therefore bring down the cost to the consumer. The challenge with them has been that when they catch on fire, they are very difficult to put out. The interesting takeaway from this was that the composition of the batteries has changed a lot. And that the newer ones are much, much less prone to that. And there are ways of dividing them up in such a way that it's not one big battery, but it's a series of smaller batteries that are all linked in one spot. Anyway, it was a really interesting presentation. I don't think we're gonna have one in Millerton Northeast anytime soon. But it was something that we're paying attention to. Something else that the town has worked on, the county has been pushing all of the towns and villages to do work on hazard mitigation. And the county has a hazard mitigation plan, but it involves each town filling out its own sort of protocol. And they sent this to each town to do a lot of work on finding out what parts of the town are prone to, various hazards, and what equipment does the town have, and what has your experience been with earthquakes and fires and so on and so forth, tornadoes. Anyway, it was a lot of work filling this out, and I want to thank the volunteers who helped on this, including Councilman Chris Mayville and Ralph Fideli, and our volunteers Kathleen Spahn and Andrew Stamen for all the work that they did on this. The county recently sent out a request to all the towns for an in-person meeting at the Farm and Home Center to go through their submission, except for the 3 towns that had filled it out and delivered it on time. We were one of those 3 towns. The rest of the towns in the county did not do it. So I just want to thank our volunteers for doing all that work and getting that recognition. I want to note and welcome the new reporter from the Millerton News, Allie Morrissey, who's here with us tonight. And we're very happy that you are here and look forward to seeing you frequently. One other thing which happened today, which was very interesting to me, and I had mentioned it before. The landfill that we have, the town's long closed landfill. We have talked about a number of things that could happen with it. One is to put a solar array on the landfill and to sell the power from that. It would benefit the town. We've looked into that. We're going to continue to look into it for a while. We're quite a ways away from the higher powered wires on Route 22. And for every mile that you are distant from those wires, it is a very large cost. So the economic benefit of connecting that landfill to the grid is not as great as it would be if we were right next to Route 22. But another thing which we have looked into, and we were a leader in this, is the opportunity to mitigate the methane emissions coming from the landfill. Every closed landfill is emitting gas, basically methane. And when it is first closed, the amount that it is emitting is much higher because material is decomposing in the landfill over time. As the years go by, the amount of that declines and it eventually gets to almost zero. But as we look for ways to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions, one of the largest sources of greenhouse gases in the town from municipal sources is our landfill. We've been working with the Hudson Valley Regional Council on a proposal to mitigate and buffer those emissions. And what is exciting about it is they have now, I think there are 13 or 14 different landfills in the Hudson Valley that they are going to be looking at putting essentially biofilters over the candy canes that come out of the landfill. And in a sense, what it does is it forces the gases that come, the air that comes out of the landfill to go through essentially a huge wood chips or charcoal filter before it comes out, and it can reduce the methane very, very considerably. The beauty of it is it's a very cheap technology. It's a very simple technology. You build essentially a big crate around the candy cane. You fill it with wood chips and you just let it go. Anyway, we were pretty much the pioneer on this. And it was covered quite a bit last year when we were on TV, because I can't remember whether it was Channel 12 or who came up for it, but at a meeting over near Poughkeepsie, we had the county executive, Ulster County came for it, and a number of other towns. They will be coming and starting to measure our candy cane vents basically later this summer. And I wanted to thank our highway superintendent for making sure that the landfill was ready for us. It was nicely mowed, the roads in there, it looked great. So thank you, Bob, for that. Also just want to note since we last met, we've had the opening of a new restaurant in town, which is Tallow, which is in the former McDonald's. So there's some economic activity out on the boulevard. I've also talked to the owner of Bank of Millbrook, and they, as you can see from what they're doing right next to CVS, there's a lot of work going on there, and they hope to be open by the end of June. So that's coming right up. Last but not least, bulk trash day this year. We had bulk trash day. We gave it a lot of publicity, trying to make sure that everybody had a chance to, if they had bulk trash, especially tires, to bring that. We had a good response. We had a lot of people come out. It turned out that not that many people had tires that they wanted to get rid of, or that they wanted to pay to get rid of. Even though we reduced the price that we charged them for a tire in half. But there was still quite a bit of bulk that was collected. And we paid Welsh $1,958 to take the trash away. We got or will get $173 for the metal, which gets sold, so that we net had to pay Welsh $1,785. And we collected $1,655. So we lost $130, which is not bad. And from my point of view, this is actually a service. It should not be a money-making thing for the town. This is something we're actually trying to do for the town. So anyway, it was a good day. Supervisor's report. Let me get into the financials. We have budget adjustment number 3 for 2025. A fund, an expense increase of $77,772, less an expense decrease of $258, less a revenue increase of $77,514 for a net of $0. Could I ask for a motion to approve this budget adjustment number 3?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have a special abstract dated May 20th, 2025, totaling $13,854.73, broken down as follows. A fund, $3,523.73. Highway fund EV, $10,331. Could I ask for motion to approve the special abstract?
So moved.
Second.
Luana, seconded by Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. You know what I meant?
Mhm.
And I have an abstract dated June 12, 2025, totaling $220,003.82, broken down as follows. A fund, $135,873.05. B fund, $6,483.06. TV fund, $77,278.23. TNA two escrow, $92.50. Payroll TNA, $276.98. Could I ask for a motion to accept the abstract?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And the voucher committee for July will be Meg Winkler and Ralph Fidelli. Department and committee reports, Bob, how are things down at the highway garage?
Everything's going well, we're focusing on drainage this month, various roads throughout the town, cutting shoulders, cleaning catch basins, flushing pipes out. Was finding that to go.
Okay, what kind of shape is our equipment in?
The tractor that we mow the sides of the road, and we also mow the landfill with, needs a transmission pump and a clutch. Without service right now, hope to have it back on the 23rd of this month.
Okay. Other than that, things are quiet,
Yes.
all right, anybody have a question for Bob?
Hey, Bob, I know this is a broad question, but if some road signs are covered by a bunch of vines and bushes, is that our responsibility as a town, like on town roads, or, okay, so just give you a photo or show you where it is, or a couple, okay, thank you.
Also, the state has been filling all the potholes on
I
22,
saw that.
finally.
Much better.
Finally, I think
Finally.
it's- yes,
Finally.
all right. I have a report from the assessor,
You guys each have one.
but I want to read it so that everybody has heard it. The Board of Assessment Review held the 2025 grievance day on Wednesday, May 28th. Appearing before the board were 10 property owners or their representatives, speaking on 14 parcels. Additionally, there were 7 owners or their representatives that mailed in complaints for review on 15 parcels. There were five owners that chose to be represented by a tax consultant company. And finally, 14 that settled with the assessor by stipulation before grievance day. There was a total of 48 complaints from 37 owners, which is above average. Assessment reductions were granted on 5 of the applications and approved on 14 stipulations. The board's determination letters are being prepared and will be sent to all the complainants, filed with the town clerk and updated for the final 2025 assessment roll. The final roll, the 2025 assessment roll, will be finalized and filed on July 1st. It will be available to the public in the assessor's office, in the town clerk's office, and online with a link on the town's website. Also, parcel access site will be updated with the finalized 2025 assessments. On May 20th, 25, we received our equalization rate of 100%. This indicates that the analysis done by the New York State Office of Real Property Tax Services verified our new assessment at 100% of market value. This represents an estimated full value change in the assessment roll of 8.44%. The planning, zoning, and building department reports have been forwarded to the board by Tilly.
Mhm.
And Tilly, do you have any other reports?
The tax collector report, we're done, the book's closed, I'm settled with the county. And we were 95%, only 87 parcels hadn't paid, which is pretty good. It's the best we've done, so.
Okay, then committee activity, I did not. Add housing, I don't know, Meg, if you wanted to say anything about housing,
We
I didn't leave it off intentionally.
we just heard from, Hudson River Housing that we're about to go through training. Finally, they went through their training for the +1 ADU accessory dwelling unit program for all our towns that are participating. So we're waiting to go through that training as yourself and I probably, and then we'll do outreach to the community.
And we'll certainly want to report to at our next board meeting if that training takes place before our next board meeting.
I hope.
I hope, anyway, we'll certainly let everybody know about that. But this relates to, the ADUs or accessory dwelling units. Which is for our town, one of the most appealing and immediate opportunities to increase the amount of housing.
I did, we had listened to a presentation on short-term rental updates, but it was very broad. It was over all the states and, the governor's supposed to sign something, and I have a feeling it might have been signed because I saw another town around us saying they need to have a meeting on it pretty quick to establish.
Well, we'll certainly
We'll have to
look and
look
see
into
what,
that. Yeah,
we don't wanna
because we don't.
miss
have
that
time.
opportunity. The Recreation Committee, I think you suggested you're gonna have a meeting next
Early
week.
next week, yeah.
So we'll look forward to some report from that committee in our July meeting. And there's no report, I think, from the Highway Committee, which is me, or the Building and Grounds Committee, which is me. Oh, the maple trees out front.
Mhm.
If anybody has looked at the maple trees out front carefully, you'll see that the leaves on those trees are suffering. There's some dark, black, spotting that has taken place on those, leaves. And.
Tar spot,
What?
I think they're called tar spots, we just had an arborist look at our tree. And she said it's cosmetic, aesthetic, and it's mostly, it's tar spot.
We've, Tilly, our town clerk, has looked into this as well and came back with essentially the same report, which is that it's unsightly. The tree may lose its leaves, but it's not gonna kill the tree. So I'd like them to look better, especially since I actually planted those two trees.
And our tree from Townscape.
Yes, right, through Townscape, the one in front of your house. Anyway, it's, if you notice the tree, feel sorry for it because it's having a bad summer. Okay. There's one thing that I added to the agenda, which is the approval of the permit for Scenic View, which is now doing business as Housatonic Acquisitions. This trailer park was not, the permit for it was not presented to the board at our last meeting because they had a violation that they had to cure. The violation has been cured, and therefore we are in a position to accept the, I think our building department has been up and inspected it, so the town board can accept that that permit. With that, We need a motion, okay.
To approve the permit.
I would like to ask for a motion to approve the permit for Housatonic Acquisitions Trailer Park.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? We good? Okay. With that, we come to the main event, which is a presentation by Duchess Land Conservancy regarding a request that they have made of the town. And we'll look forward to hearing from you, from Aaron Hoagland and Emily
House. Yes, it's a long one. It's not.
That's okay.
So thank you for having us. Thank you for letting us speak to you about this project. I'm Emily Kilderhouse with the Duchess Land Conservancy, and this is Erin Hoagland. The DLC is making applications to the New York State Department of Agriculture Markets to fund the purchase of development rights to protect the Indian Pond Farm property owned by Marilyn Barrett, and she's in the back, along with her two daughters back there. They've been stewarding these lands since 1823. It was originally operating as a dairy farm before transitioning to a combination of raising heifers, growing hay, leasing acreage to other producers. Today, Lynn leases the farm to Lone Man Farms, who utilize the land to grow a rotation of corn and soybeans. So one of the application requirements for us is to obtain a letter of endorsement from the municipality, which is why we're in front of you today, to ask for that letter of endorsement. I provided the letter in advance for you to review and take a look at. Some of you may remember we were here a few years ago requesting similar letters for Duncandale Farm and Keora Farm, which you guys graciously provided, so thank you very much for that. We welcome you to make any edits or changes to that letter. We really just wanted to draft it to kind of save you some time on that end. So feel free to make any edits. And I will tell you a little bit about the property. I just wanted to mention another kind of requirement they have for this is conflicts of interest. So the state requires that we address this and respectfully request that anybody who has a conflict with either the Barrett's property or with the DLC would actually leave the room during presentation, discussion, and any vote. So I don't know if there's any conflicts or.
So if any member of the board has a conflict either with DLC or with the property in question, we will ask you to excuse yourselves. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. So as you can see here on the map, you can see it in this hashed blue here. Indian Pond Farm is approximately 144 acres. It's located on Indian Lake Road. You can see it's also in proximity to several other DLC protected properties. Those are all the properties in blue. It's a nice little area of the town of protected lands. The property has been leased by Lonan Farm since 2004. Lonan is owned and operated by the Vale family, whose home farm is located in the town of Gallatin, which is just to the northwest of the town of Northeast. The Vale started with just 12 cows in 1967 and today milk 600 head, and they additionally grow corn, soybeans, and alfalfa. They produce over 2 million gallons of milk per year, and they're a member of the Agrimark Farmer-Owned Cooperative, which owns and produces Cabot dairy products. They utilize Indian Pond Farm for a rotation of corn and soybeans, which are sold directly to other dairy farmers for feed. The property has some pretty impressive natural resources on it. It consists primarily of open and expansive farm fields with small areas of woodland, as you can see on the aerial. Almost a half mile of the Weebatuck Creek runs through the property, as well as nearly 1,000 feet of a tributary to the Weebatuck. The entire property overlies Zone 1 Aquifer Recharge Area, and there are also some federal and state designated wetlands surrounding the stream segments. Taking a look at the soils, about half of the property contains prime and statewide important agricultural soils. As you can see from the map, it's a really good portion of the property and where it's farmed. So I'm going to just tell you lastly a little bit about the protection, how the protection of agricultural land and open space aligns with the town's goals in your documents. So The Town of Northeast Comprehensive Plan update describes the community character as a priority value within the town, including prime features of rural, scenic, and natural beauty. The comprehensive plan's goals for the community include maintaining the natural beauty, rural character, and scenic resources of the town. And protecting the environment, ecosystems, and open spaces, as well as restoring these places when possible, and protecting and supporting diverse farmlands within the town. The proposed agricultural and farmland protection plan also recognizes the strong role that agriculture has in the history in the town of Northeast, and includes as a primary goal to protect farmland, to ensure a future of productive agriculture, and to maintain the character of the community. It also encourages the use of conservation easements as a means of protecting the agricultural lands. We really feel protection of this property is worthwhile, and would benefit Northeast. We hope you do too, and would appreciate your endorsement. I just want to say thanks again for letting us come in front of you today. And are there any questions for us about the property or anything?
Am I right in thinking that the western edge of the farm is butts up against the rail trail?
Yes, this edge here.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. Yeah,
Yep,
well,
that's correct.
as a frequent user of the rail trail,
Yeah.
I've looked at it many times and it's,
Yeah,
it's wonderful to see.
yeah, it's really beautiful, you know, and coming along Indian Lake Road too, as it kind of see. the whole
What-
expanse of the road. It's pretty beautiful.
And maybe I'll ask Warren to comment on this as well. Does this mean that it stays farmland in perpetuity?
Yeah, so while we wouldn't regulate, you know, what gets farmed or what happens there in perpetuity, it would make it available to be in agriculture in perpetuity. The goal is farmland viability for into the future.
What happens if the farm is sold at some point?
So the farm, they're, you know, they're able to sell the land as owners of the property. We're really just restricting where development can happen on the property, so where residential structures go. Make sure it's kind of clustered in the area, in a farm area, so all the buildings are together, but that it maintains some flexibility to make sure that it's viable for agriculture, for a future farmer.
So I'm not against this, but I just wanted to share that there's been a lot of conversation in our communities. About hoping in the future that maybe land conservancies can work with housing conservancies, because as you well know, we have tons of land and no
Yeah.
housing. And then when we do get housing, they're massive mansions.
Yeah.
So, you know, an idea that's popped up for future conversations might be to folks have talked about when land isn't really viable for conservancy, but folks want to give it. Is there the opportunity to then align with a housing organization? Because, you know, even just having a couple acres can make a big difference. You know,
Yeah.
we built a Habitat for Humanity house on half an acre that the town owned. So that's just one example. So that, I just wanted to share there's a lot of sentiment surrounding this, to not think of things as separate, you know, that way.
Yeah,
So I would hope that we move in that direction too.
yeah, definitely. I think we agree and have been exploring. We did a project recently that incorporated some affordable housing components as well, and would hope to be more like that in the future.
Yeah, I think, just as a note on the land plan, our site planning and the permissions that New York State looks to include are somewhat flexible for, like tenant housing and also farm worker housing to include that. But, yeah, to Emily's point, the housing groups, Hudson River Housing included, DLC and many other land trusts are part of an alliance that kind of puts us all in the same room talking about the same, issues that we're facing, because we're all after the same resource, being land, and it's all under pressure, in a way that we don't need to be working separately. And Emily mentioned a project, I don't know if you all are familiar with the Cookingham Farm in Red Hook,
Yes.
but that was one sort of opportunity that we had. And I think there's definitely sort of the door has been opened to continuing to explore those collaborations, so.
Right, thank you.
I'm really happy to hear that the DLC is part of that collaboration. I'm aware of that collaboration and it's really interesting, and it is, they're working very hard to make sure that as we preserve land in the county, that we are also aware of the incredible pressure that we have on housing in our area.
Absolutely.
Any other questions from the board? Warren, do you have any comments
No,
on,
Sounds great.
on this?
Yeah.
You've seen,
It's just covered by, it's not a conservation easement, it's a land development,
It will be a conservation.
conservation easement.
Yeah.
Warren, as such, does it come back to the town for that approval or for that
I don't
designation?
know, I'd have to see the terms of the conservation. I don't think the town has any involvement in enforced by Dutchess Land Conservancy.
Yeah.
It encumbers the land and it's a
Yep.
contractual obligation to comply with the development. It's only limited development. Is there some development allowed for housing, but all
Mhm.
normal housing?
Yeah, so we'll, create an area where, the residential buildings will be clustered in a certain area, but allowing, certain residential rights. Primary residence, and accessory residence, as well as agricultural structures will be allowed on property, and like Aaron said, some, farm worker housing as well.
Can the town get a copy of that conservation?
Yeah, I think once, so while it feels like we are achieving a lot here, hopefully, but. So we're sort of at the very early stages of this process and, we won't have an easement for quite some time. And truthfully, sort of until, the conservation easement is closed and. Signed by both parties, we are, somewhat confidential about the details of that. I mean, not speaking for the Barretts, but that's sort of our own policy at the DLC, just because it is a private landowner negotiation. But it will become a matter of public record, filed with the county, and after that point, with the Barrett's permission, we would be happy to share that.
Any other board comments?
No.
Just having said that, I am, not just from the rail trail, but also from going up the road that bisects the property. It is a beautiful property. The Barrett family have a long history of involvement in this town. And I think it's a wonderful thing that this will be preserved in this way and that the agricultural use of the property will be preserved. So I'm delighted that you're here and I would move that the town board vote to authorize me to sign the letter of approval.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? I'm gonna ask for a roll call vote on this.
Okay. Supervisor Cameron,
Aye.
Councilman Fidelli,
Aye.
Councilwoman Winkler,
Aye.
Councilwoman Mayville.
Aye.
Councilman Mayville, I'm sorry. Mayville. Uh-huh.
People are.
Councilwoman Morrison.
Great, the motion is approved, so
Thank you so much.
we want to thank you for coming out and want to thank the family for what you're doing. And very happy that you're here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Oh, and feel free to just send over a scanned copy, you don't have that, put it in the mail. If you want.
That one's,
It might be easier.
yeah,
Okay.
we,
Signature.
Yeah.
yeah, few of the minutes, I guess.
Well, I have a
Oh,
little
yeah,
sample letter.
yeah. Yeah, we got it, I'll get it done. Okay. The next item on our agenda is appointment to fill vacancies on the town board of ethics. The town has received two resignations from the town's board of ethics. One from John Merwin and one from Dave Schufelt, creating two vacancies. And I asked the personnel committee of the town board to interview the applicants, and I'm gonna ask Chris to give us that report.
Sure, so we interviewed all the applicants, Ralph and myself as the personnel committee, and we're happy to bring to the board for appointment, Karen Pitcher and Mary Hearns.
Great. And, well, I know them both. And I know that they will both be good members of the Board of Ethics. This is an opportunity for us to revitalize the committee, the Board of Ethics. And when, after they are formally invested and after our approval, I'd like to have a meeting of the Board of Ethics and ask that board to look at our ethics code and materials on our website about ethics. I think our ethics code is pretty good, Warren. I think you.
I wrote it.
You wrote it.
Prejudice there.
But, you know, it never hurts to look at something that's been written some years ago.
Oh, yeah, it could probably use some updating.
Yeah, so, anyway, when the board is assembled, I will let you know, Warren. Obviously, it'd be important for you to join that meeting,
Okay.
but it won't be for a while. It'll be, we'll make work around everybody's schedule.
I just did a revision of the code of ethics for the Pleasant Valley, so we can take a look at that and see
Okay.
how that differs from what we
Yeah.
have. But I based it on what we have here.
All right, well, we want to probably leapfrog that
We
and
wanna
now,
make it
and
better.
have an even better one. Anyway, thank you, Chris and Ralph for that report.
How many years are those? Do they fulfill someone else's post? Or do
It's,
they get a brand new?
all of our boards go for as many years as there are members. So the
Okay.
ZBA, in this case, there are five members, so there are
okay.
they do a 5-year
Oh,
terms,
okay.
which means that every year, one person comes up for renewal.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, definitely, with pleasure. I would like to ask the board for a motion to approve the appointment of Karen Pitcher and Mary Herms to the town's Board of Ethics.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. I will let them know of their appointment.
The question,
Yeah, good.
terms, like, do they
Yes,
replace?
we will have to look at the terms.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
The crowd.
We will look at the terms of the two members who are resigning and fit them into those terms. So we'll have to figure out which one is in which. The next item is, I wrote on here approval of a contract with TLC Cleaning. It's not really a contract. We have been looking for a service or a person to help us with keeping town hall clean and helping to keep the highway garage office area clean. And it's been a while since we had somebody doing that. It's been, I think, almost 2 months. And we posted it, we've looked around, we've talked to people. We have not gotten a lot of people volunteering to apply for this particular job. I will say before I get to what we're doing, I just want to really give a shout out to the people here who are working in town hall. For 2 months, we have kept the building clean ourselves. We have carried out the trash. I've cleaned some bathroom floors. We've all been pitching in to help clean this building, keep it clean. And it's one of the many things that I really like about our town hall and the people who work in our town hall. Is that everybody has been, nobody complained about it. Everybody has been pitching in. And that's great. We have had an applicant, which is a company called TLC Cleaning, that is able to do this work. Because they're not a person, but rather a company. They're not paid on an hourly basis. But I would like to ask the board for their approval of hiring TLC cleaning to help us with this, with the building.
So moved.
Hang on one
Okay,
second. I want to give you,
Oh, the dollar now?
yeah,
Oh, I guess I shouldn't say that till I hear the dollar.
um. The, and this is, it is interesting because we had put in our budget. Basically based on an hourly basis, a number of $115 a week for cleaning. Both town hall and the office area of highway garage. This proposal is giving us a price of $250 a week for that cleaning. So it represents a significant increase. At the same time, we need to keep this building and the highway garage offices clean. So,
But yet we don't pay FICA or anything to
no,
them,
this is
so I'm
not an
sure we're.
employees.
No,
this
so I
is-
think we're saving other money that isn't on the budget, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, at the end of the day, this is what we have been offered.
Yeah,
I am eager to have some cleaning service come back in here and help us clean the building. So I'd like to ask the board for, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve retaining DLC cleaning for the town hall and the highway garage.
so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We had, I talked about the contracts with the village for recreation. That's going to be, the committee will meet next week and come back and we'll talk about that. We have a request from the village of Millerton for an increase in the cost of the contract for the court officer for the court. We had a contract last year that provides that the village provides a police officer for the court. And they are proposing the exact same contract for this year with a 3% increase. And that increase is, I think it amounts to going from $120 per court session to $123 per court session. It is very nominal. And with that, I would like to ask the board for its approval for me to sign a renewal of the contract for the court officer.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. We have had an application from a film company to do some filming for a movie. You may remember a couple of years ago, we had a company that came in and filmed for several days on Skunks Missouri Road. They closed the road. And there was a house there that they used. And we gave them a permit to do all of that. And we welcomed the fact that they were filming in our town. Despite the fact that Skunks Missouri Road was closed for 3 days. This filming is only amounts to an hour or two. And it's gonna be done on Winchell Mountain Road. On the afternoon of the 18th. And organized with the sheriff's office that they're gonna have 2 deputies. Here for that period of time to make sure the road will not be closed. For those who live on Winchell Mountain.
Yeah.
But they will be controlling traffic and maybe staging it, you know, at various points. And because we asked the last film company, which filmed for several days. For a fee of $250 for that. I felt that was inappropriate for an hour of work on our road. But I was If Warren suggested that he felt that 150 would be an appropriate amount. I believe Tilly has talked to the film company and they're fine with that. So. With that, I think we have an approval of
You signing the contract.
me signing the contract with the agreement with the film company to permit them to film for 2 hours on Winter Mountain Road. With that, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve me signing contract with the film company.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And lastly, on this list is workers' comp. And I sent that to members of the board. We have workers' comp for, as part of the town's insurance coverage. And the increase in workers' comp is up, I think is up about 3%. We have the option to bind coverage for either a 2 or a 3-year term. I can't imagine wanting to do anything less than the 3. I think that's a good number. So the proposal is that the workers' comp for starting July 1 for the next 12 months would be at a cost of $24,376. This is coverage we have to have. I think the increase is nominal. And I would ask the board for a motion to approve the workers' comp coverage.
So, so you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyway, I think that covers it. With that, we get to public comment period. Any members of the public are welcome to comment on anything. No. In that case, we have minutes of meetings of May 8th and May 13th. Were sent to the board for their approval. And I would like to ask for a motion to approve the minutes of meetings of May 8th and May 13th.
No moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. The new feature, which we're gonna make part of the agenda going forward, is an opportunity for board members to talk about, or make comments about anything, or ask questions about anything that's on your minds.
So last year we took a look at the comprehensive plan and we agreed that moving forward we would schedule time for that. So I just want to keep it on our radar to, towards the end of the summer to maybe do that again.
Yeah, and off of that, actually, someone did ask me and bring it up that they thought they were asking, are we gonna have the combined town and village town hall? Because they were really hoping to be able to go to a forum like that. So I know we talked about that as a next step. And there's never a good time, but maybe this fall or winter, we could do that.
I'm totally open to it. I think we have to figure out. Is it both and with both boards,
Yeah, I think so.
they become both a town board meeting and a village board meeting.
I don't know, Kevin, just a
so-
regular town hall meeting with the community.
I don't know whether up in Rhinebeck or the village and the town ever meet together or.
Not lately, we've been a little estranged.
But there's no reason we couldn't do it, and it would obviously have to be properly noticed.
Yeah, you just both notice, both municipalities notice the meeting.
And we would, I would presume, have an agenda.
Sure.
Which might simply be public comment period.
Yep.
But there would need to be an agenda for that, and there probably would be some things we'd wanna formally list as discussion items.
So we could we could. Do like a presentation and have questions and answers versus public comment
Who
only?
would do the presentation?
No, I mean, if we just bring up topics and then allow the community to ask questions, is that how? I mean, I thought it's an open dialogue setting instead of just public comment.
It's fine with me.
Okay.
The village would need to agree that they wanna do that.
Yeah, I'm for that, so
Yeah,
see what happens.
So if that's something we're looking to do, then I can table my request and we can just do what Meg thought. I think it would be a better forum to have those discussions in a larger setting.
Cause then we can round back to other parts of the comprehensive plan too, maybe.
well, I think it was a really good session that we had where we talked about the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan is now 6 years, 6 years old, I think, probably, since it was approved. And any document like that benefits from going back and looking at it. It contains a lot of goals that the town set for ourselves. And I think it was a very useful exercise when we did it last year to look at that and see how we stack up. So I'd be delighted to do it. Anything else?
I have a question for two of our residents who are on State Line Road. When we mark the roadway,
Are you looking at me?
Bill Key and,
But I don't live on State Line.
no,
No, they live in the village.
oh,
I live on Simmons Street.
I think
all right.
he looks a bit like the gentleman. It's
Well,
not your,
I would like to find out.
It's not your-
if marking
it's not your
that
dope
roadway
Well,
has helped.
Ralph, Bob is right here, so why don't we ask Bob whether he thinks
I
that
think
has helped?
it definitely helped,
It did?
absolutely.
Good.
Right.
What was going on State
We-
Line? What happened?
We marked, first of all, there've been a lot of accidents
Oh,
at State Line Road and Bilkey and Red Pond Road. And we complained to the county a lot because this Red Pond Road is a county road. And they put up a second stop sign, so there's stop signs on both sides of the road as you come to Red Pond Road. They also, after we pestered them some more, agreed to allow us to paint. Stop ahead on the road and a bigger. Bar of a line right at the stop sign, at the stop line.
First time we've done that in the town.
Well, there are other places where there are those, but I think it's the first place we've done the stop ahead.
Yes,
Most other roads do have a white line. Anyway, it was an effort on our part to do what we could. We wanted to have, I'd asked the county for flashing lights, solar powered flashing lights that say stop. The number of people who run that intersection is terrifying.
and it's become a byway because of all the congestion.
I think
And
it's
then
on
going
Google,
through the
I think
village?
Google reroutes, some people,
Oh,
some
really?
of the residents right along, right at the state line itself, where that creek is.
Yeah,
The guy who lives there said that, he sees in the mornings, Google seems to reroute traffic around it, so a lot of non-residents, trucks and other vehicles are just zooming by because they think it's a bypass around, 44.
yeah, and
Right.
it's very heavily trafficked, so. Maybe, I was told at one point you can actually put a request into Google Maps and that to not do those things, but I can check into that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that would be-
Waze and all those people, they actually send people from the New York State Thruway down 199, down Winchell Mountain and that, instead of going the way down 22. And apparently that way is on there on Waze and Google Maps also, so I'll look into it.
That would be great.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna change everything, but
Two other things which I left off in the beginning, one is that, and I put this in my town supervisor email, the last one, but I was out on the rail trail on Sunday, which was the first sunny, warm, good day that we've had on a weekend in a while. And the amount of traffic on the rail trail was pretty terrifying. It was a lot. And in addition to people walking and running and people out there with children
E-bikes.
and so on, which was fine.
yeah,
The bike traffic, and I was on a bike, was, especially on the elevated walkways, is pretty scary because there are many of them going very, very fast. And when you have dogs on a leash that may go one way or the other, or children on bikes who are not necessarily experienced bikers, it's an accident waiting to happen. And how we deal with that, we have to work with the county. The county is, manages the rail trail, it is not our ability to put signs up on the rail trail. But it is something to be aware of, it's a concern.
Rattlesnakes
Fortunately,
too.
well, the good news is if you're on a bike, the rattlesnake is just not that fast.
yeah. Except for when I had my bear scare last year, that was not good. But yeah, I mean, it's also some folks not on e-bikes just ride so freaking fast and they scream last minute, left, right. And you're just
Mhm.
like, oh my God. Yeah, it's not, it's
Well,
like
it's
being
good.
courteous on the
It is
road.
good when people, when they come from behind, that they actually tell you which side of you they're gonna
Right,
pass
right,
on, that is
right.
good.
That
I
is-
ask them to do that,
Yeah, Or the
and I
day.
try to do that when I'm riding.
Yeah.
I don't ride that fast anymore. Anyway, last but not least, on Tuesday of next week, we will have a special meeting, hopefully, hopefully, the last meeting we could have on the reviewing the ZRC's work. Where I'm gonna be distributing material to the board to see where we are, but I am hoping that we can start approving pieces of this and get it into a place where we can sit and review it now with Warren, send it to the county. But, this is important work that we're doing. We've had a lot of meetings so far, and we'll continue to have meetings until we get this thing done, but
What time is the meeting?
at 5 o'clock,
4
o'clock, excuse me.
is it? 4:30, yeah.
Yeah, 4.
4. Yeah. Will
You want me to?
Yeah,
will the CAC just put in writing to us if they approve of the landscaping? Do you know, Andrew? Oh, Rich, hey, would you guys be making a statement to us about the thank you. The landscaping
Take care of
portion
it.
of it, because I think Edie sent it to you guys, or you can look at it
Meg,
online.
we have not sent it to CAC yet formally. It goes to the planning board, CAC, it goes to a group of our boards
Edie
in a
said-
formal way. She may have informally
Okay.
sent pieces of it,
Okay,
but Rich, if you would like
We
to,
were involved in drafting it. I don't know what's fine to do.
yeah. Well, we will welcome, at any point now or after you've been formally sent our handiwork, your comments.
Okay.
Okay, with that. I think that gets us to the end of this agenda. We're now going to go into executive session as discussed. And I would like now to thank you all for coming. Lorna, I have a key. Although maybe,
To
if you could leave the office upstairs, like he may be upstairs.
You need me for the? for the-
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, I think,
Gonna make a motion.
yep, I'm gonna make a motion. I'm gonna make a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing the employment history of a particular person or persons.
So moved.
Second,
Okay. All in favor?
aye.
And
Okay,
recording.
I will
Yes.
let you know when we exit from
Executive. We need to.
and when we adjourn. Thank you.
Turn the owl off.
Hold on, I'm
Bye, Tilly.
See ya.
See you later.